they applied
Recording in
starting in
progress.
April to all these places, and I applied to 2 places and got accepted at.
Okay, I'd like to welcome you to the Lunenburg Zoning Board of Appeals. I will tell you how the hearing is going to proceed, but first I have to give you a notification that this hearing is being recorded in accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law. Please be advised that this meeting will be broadcast live through local access cable on Facebook Live on the Public Access Facebook page, and will be able to be found on the Lunenburg Public Access YouTube channel within 24 hours after the meeting. To participate remotely from a computer, go to Zoom meeting. Computer and app users may use the raise hand feature to request to speak. And with that, I'd like to introduce you to the board. On my left is Lisa Norman, and the board secretary. I'm Alfred Gravel. This is James Bezikowski, Hans Winthrop, David Blatt, Patrick Callahan, Tony Nicastro, and Don Gurney on the end. The way the hearing will proceed is Lisa will read the application or any other submitted communications. The applicant will have the opportunity for comments on the application or submission of additional documents. You will please come forward to the mic, give your name and address. Board members will have the opportunity to ask questions that they might have on the application while you're at the mic, and there will be a public comment period. If anyone would like to speak, please come forward to the mic, give your name and address all comments and questions to the board. With that, I would ask Lisa to read the first petition.
Okay, this is an application for a special permit, Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 9, Zoning Board of Appeals. The name and address of each applicant, it's the Barrows Family Irrevocable Trust. Vincent Kleber and Brenda Barrows are the trustees, 615 Townsend Street in Fitchburg, Mass. 01462. The undersigned hereby appeals as follows, seeking a special permit for relief from the 1-year required waiting period for occupancy of an accessory dwelling unit on the property after occupancy of the primary dwelling. The proposed action has begun. The basis for this application is found in the following section of the Lunenburg zoning bylaw, Section 250, 4.1H1K. Street address is 615 Townsend Street, which is part in Lunenburg and part in Fitchburg. The assessors map 56-7. The name and address of legal holder to the land, which is the subject of this case, is Barrows Family Irrevocable Trust, Vincent Kleber, Emerson, and Brenda Barrows. The deed is recorded in Worcester Northern District Registry of Deeds, Book 10692, page 161, and recorded December 28, 2023. The answers and the questions and answers to the special permit questions are as follows. Will the proposed action be injurious or dangerous to the public health or duly hazardous because of traffic congestion, danger of fire or explosion, or other reasons? The response, no. New home is almost complete, requesting to utilize existing dwelling on the property. Will this action have a material adverse effect on the value of land and buildings in the neighborhood or on the amenities of the neighborhood? The response, no. Will increase values as newly built home. C, will the proposed action be operated with reasonable regard for order and sightliness if an open use? The response, not an open use, a permanent residence. D, will the proposed action produce noise, vibration, dust, odor, heat, or glare observable at lot lines in amounts clearly detrimental to the normal use of adjacent property? The response, no noise, vibration, dust, odor, heat, or glare observable at the property. And that's signed by Vincent Kleber, Emerson Barrows, and Brenda Barrows. And with it is a site plan of the property, is a copy of the list of abutters with both the Fitchburg side of the property and the Lunenburg side were both notified. And that's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
And with that, I would invite the applicant to come up if he would like to add anything or explain the situation.
Good evening. My name is Vincent Kleber Barrows from 615 Townsend Street, Lunenburg, Fitchburg, 16 acres in Lunenburg, 1.2 acres in Fitchburg. we run as a farm, and we just finished building the new home, and to get the occupancy for that, I have to come to you all to ask to keep this other house, because eventually, not anytime soon, we'll be using for help on the farm. That's what I am here for.
Okay, thank you. Is this house in good repair, the one that's there? I know you built a new one.
But the one I'm living now,
No, not the one you're living in, the one that you're
we
asking.
just finished build that. We just got inspect last week, the final inspection. I can only get my occupancy after I come to you guys.
to come to
And I
us.
cannot move in there because I don't have the occupancy to get insurance.
Okay, because of the one-year waiting period?
Yes.
Okay, all right. With that, I'll turn it over to the board.
I was by there today, and your new house looks beautiful.
Thank you.
And the old house looks decent, too.
It is decent.
It'll be nice for migrant workers or some other workers to stay there, I think. You know, it's a
Correct.
nice opportunity rather than trailers.
Yeah.
So,
It's still a good.
I honestly don't have any questions.
I had a question, Mr. Chairman. So how long have you lived at the property?
11 years.
Right, and so the only reason you're before us is because you moved the property into a trust, and that trust was created back almost 9 months ago?
Yeah, no, this is not the reason.
No?
No.
Because I looked at the deed, there was a deed that was noted here on the application, but there was another deed back in 2012. So what I'm trying to tell you is that I didn't see a compelling reason to grant you the request that you have, but you've owned the property since 2012, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, but on the application, the deed and book and page number was back in 12 of last year. So you must have moved the house from your names into a
trust,
trust.
yeah.
Right, so you're the trustees now.
Correct.
That occurred back in December of last year.
Correct.
So that's why you're before us, because it's not, even though you've owned the property since 2012, you created the trust back last year, 9 months ago in December.
Correct.
And so it's not a year now, and now you're asking for relief from the 1-year waiting period, correct?
It's not because the trust is.
Okay.
It's for a
No.
second building.
It's not because.
Oh, is that for the second building? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the first one?
Right, so they're just finishing the newer building, and they want to be able to move into the newer building.
But that's the reason why you have to wait a year, correct?
No, because you can't.
No, just because it's two house on the property.
No two houses on the property.
Now it's a two house on the property.
And now you'd like for us to grant you permission to move into both houses, use your main house, and then the other one is an accessory house?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. David, any questions?
I'm all set, thank you.
Patrick, any questions?
Not that it matters, but I kind of read it the same way as you, and it really, it doesn't matter. either
Well,
way.
he's owned the property since 2012.
Yes.
But the only reason he's here is because he's gonna have two properties.
Two houses on the same
Yeah, two
property.
houses on
Yeah.
the same property.
Correct.
Yeah, just for what it's worth, it doesn't really matter.
And
either way.
like, the building inspector told me, say, you're gonna be using this house to live, for somebody to live in this house before a year. I say, not before April, when the season starts for farming.
Right.
Yeah.
And he say, with the new law, is gonna start be legal in February, you allowed to have two houses on a property, right? I say,
Right.
but you still have to go in the front of the border. We're not gonna be using before March anyway.
So, I'm sorry, oh, go ahead, ask your question.
So my only question was, I saw there was a hearing for Fitchburg, did you already do that, or
I do what?
did you have a hearing with Fitchburg zoning board of appeals?
No, I don't have to, because both properties, it's in
Okay, I saw like
Lunenburg, yeah.
Yeah, buildings are in Lunenburg.
The
driveways
is in
Fitchburg.
Fitchburg, yeah.
Okay. I saw the letter to the Fitchburg Board of Appeals, but,
Yeah,
didn't
because the
know if that-
neighbors, we have neighbors in Lunenburg and neighbors.
oh, so that was just for the abutters list?
Yes.
Okay, I got you. Okay, follow that. Yep. Nope, that was all.
You're currently living in the existing structure?
Yes, correct. It was built in 1919.
1919? Okay.
That's the original house, yeah.
Okay, I took a quick look at the property today. It looks very nice. The new building, for what I could see, looked very nice.
Thank you, thank you.
So, Mr. Chairman, I have a question. Sure. So you're, and I'm sorry for my confusion, but you're presently in, your plans are for you to personally move into the new building?
Correct, yes.
Okay, all right, all right. Would the same have been the case if you couldn't rent it? Could he have been letting somebody else use it?
Can't get an occupancy permit is the problem.
And,
Okay.
and I believe, I'm pretty sure if what I read on the state, what they just passed about accessory housing, and the governor signed into law, I don't think it takes effect until February of next year, but that would allow this as a matter of right. Just,
Yeah, right, I remember hearing about that, yeah, as well, so, okay.
And if he didn't need his occupancy permit before then, he, come,
Right.
December, it'd be a year and he could do it as a matter of right too.
Correct.
As of February 3rd, he could do it as a matter of right.
Oh, I have, we did this application before the law was signed.
Yeah.
right. Okay, no more questions? I will call for a,
I'll make a motion that we grant a special permit for relief from, the law, requiring 1 year to allow the person to, occupy the new dwelling.
Thank you
And
very much.
also the, secondary dwelling on the property.
Thank you very much, sir.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion and a second. I will call vote,
Aye.
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 and aye. And with that, it is approved. I do have to read some post findings to you. The special permit is granted with the contingency that the petitioner complies with all licenses, regulations, statutes, and ordinance of any and all applicable local, state, federal boards or agencies with jurisdiction over the premises. The special permit is subject to a periodic review by the permit granting authority or enforcement officer to ensure compliance with conditions. Non-compliance to such conditions may result in revocation of this permit. A copy of the board's decision shall be filed with the town clerk within 14 days. Any party aggrieved by the board's decision may appeal to Superior Court 20 days after the decision is filed with the town clerk. After certification by the town clerk that 20 days have elapsed since the decision was filed, you should have it recorded in the Registry of Deeds. No special permit shall take effect until it has been recorded. And with that, we're all set.
Thank you all.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Good luck, good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you, Val.
And with that, I believe we can go right into the second hearing. Go ahead. Yeah, I think you can just go right in. We don't have
This application's a different format, so if I read it a little out of order, that's why. So the applicant is, okay, well, the project is construction of a new home within limits of previous home and previously submitted plans. The applicant is Justin Tusignot of 12 Sunset Lane in Lunenburg. The project address is also 12 Sunset Lane in Lunenburg, and the applicable section of the Code of Lunenburg is 250-5.2 and 250-5.3. The special permit questions and answers are as follows. Actually, please describe how the proposed action will prevent conditions that are injurious or dangerous to public health, unduly hazardous because of traffic congestion, danger of fire or explosion. The applicant put not applicable. Number 2, please describe any material adverse effects on the land and buildings in the neighborhood or on the amenities of the neighborhood. The applicant put not applicable. Please describe how the proposed use or activity will be operated with reasonable regard for order and sightliness if an open use. The response, single-family home to be updated. Please describe how the proposed action will reduce and/or prevent noise, vibration, dust, odor, heat, or glare at the lot lines in amounts clearly detrimental to the normal use of adjacent property. Again, not applicable. And the additional information important to the application is looking to rebuild home in the same footprint of the previous home with small addition of square footage being added to the main house. Plans and layout are the same as the previously approved ZBA decision. I have comments from the Board of Health dated August 6, 2024. The Board of Health doesn't have an issue with this proposal with the following conditions. Expansion of the structure can't result in an increase of sewage flow to the septic system. Floor plans of both buildings will be required prior to the issuance of a building permit. And 2, the footprint of the buildings with the proposed expansion must comply with the offset requirements in Title V. The site must include all components of the on-site system. There is also a copy of the previously granted special permit for dimensional variation on April 22nd of 2021. There is a site plan that was also included with the last application. There is a floor plan of the house. There are some renderings of the property. And let's see what else we have. There is a copy of the list of abutters as well as the septic plan. And I just had one comment that was given to me by the Conservation Commission, said that they would have to go before the Conservation Commission for an order of conditions. And that's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
With that, I would invite the applicant up again.
Good evening. I'm Justin Tusing out of 12 Sunset Lane. Here seeking the dimensional variation of the property setback lines as well as the height. I screwed up and removed the foundation before it was inspected. It wasn't sound, and so I'm here because we have to file a new permit after speaking with Brian, the building commissioner, and therefore I'm here for the ZBA application again.
Okay. I think, just to give a little history, you previously had requests for a special permit for a dimensional variation that was approved on April 14, 2021.
Yes, sir.
It was in residential B district, which requires 25-foot setback, and I don't have the height here.
The setback was 7 feet.
The 2021 request was granted for a small area to square off the garage, requiring a 10-foot variation. The house itself required an 8-foot side yard setback and a 4.3 variation in height. The garage, when I looked at it recently, it looks like, originally you asked to just rebuild the garage, square it off. It looks like now that's being used. Have you been living there? Is that like a residential home now?
No, so the intent was, we are living there, yes, just to be clear. The intent was always to use that space for like a home office and gym setup. We were always going to remove a major portion of the house. It's part of my screw-up is I didn't realize procedurally, one, we went in front of the Historical Commission today, and they approved the non-demo delay. And the second part of it was the level of demo. Our plans originally, the design hasn't changed, the layout hasn't changed. It was really my misstep not understanding the procedure. So the intent was to be in the garage temporarily, my wife, my kid, and then once the house is complete, we'll move into the house, and then that just becomes a gym and an office for our business.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to open it up to the board. They may have
I have a few questions. So, and actually it's more for the board than for the applicant, but you did knock the house down, correct, without a permit?
Yes.
So, in my conversation with the building commissioner, I mean, do we even know where the existing foundation was?
Yes, sir. Each step, that's actually, I brought Mr. Steve Ballard from Haley and Ward, the site surveyor. We've marked it off each step along the way because obviously we looked for a variation in the setback. Like, we wanted to make sure that we were on the property lines and we didn't want to rebuild outside of that. We didn't want to be in a situation where we put in a new structure, someone comes and survey it, and we're off like a foot or two.
But you know, like, when you knocked the building down, your grandfather, I mean, I may be incorrect, but I thought the grandfather clause went away too, right?
There is one section that says that if you tear it down without permission from the zoning board of appeals, it's considered abandoned.
Correct.
Right.
But my understanding from talking to the building inspector, so I had a question for him, I said, okay, he knocks the building down, he loses his grandfather clause, his protection. I mean, he doesn't even meet I asked him if he met all the current setbacks and through the lot width. I haven't seen anything like that. Do you meet all the requirements? If you did knock it down and you lost your grandfather clause, he thought you might be able to build it on that lot, but I don't see how, because in that zoning district, you need 80,000 square feet, you only have 39,000 square feet. So I don't know how you could put the house back to where it should be under the current zoning bylaw.
Okay.
So there's that portion of it. And then I did look at the septic and the soil absorption that they provided, the applicant provided. But I was confused because on the plan, on the sewer plan, it referenced 4 Sunset Lane, which must be your neighbor.
Correct.
So there was an as-built for that, which said it was a 4-bedroom house. But the soil absorption plan you sent us was for your property at 12 Sunset Lane.
12.
And that had 3 beds. So I was a little confused because as I was looking at the sewage disposal system, I think we got the wrong plan because it's your neighbors unless something happened between 2007 and then, when you did something over there. No?
So my understanding is when we bought the property, the septic had already been done. The septic was able to have a 4-bedroom house, but it was only ever approved for a 3-bedroom for whatever reason, which is why we were going back for the same 3-bedroom house.
Okay. Because it says on the, on the description, it was 4 Sunset Lane for the sewage disposal system. But the soil absorption design had your property, so I was a little confused about that. And I think I had one more question, but I'll let the other members talk, and then I can come back to it if I can find it. So, I mean, Mike, so you know where the existing foundation was?
Yeah, we had, what is it called, Steve? Pinned?
And it's still gonna be a 3-bedroom?
Correct, yes.
If you would like to address it, you can come up at a mic and address it as well, if needed.
Okay.
And so I know what my other question was. So so special permit that you got back in 2021, have you done any construction to either the house? Well, obviously you demoed the house, so you didn't do any construction, but the garage.
We squared off the garage.
All right, so construction has begun, it's just the garage and not the house, because I was gonna say, that could have lapsed 2 years if you haven't done anything on either
Yeah,
of
no,
that.
we did the garage.
All right, so that's irrelevant then, I guess, to that. Okay, Mr. Chairman, I don't have any further questions just yet, but I would like to try to come back to the fact that, could be in a situation where, he lost his grandfather rights, to that property.
Okay.
My question would have been, or would be, why did you tear down the house without getting permission to do so, knowing that you went through procedures to get height and setback requirements for your garage at the same time?
And working with an architect and an engineer who probably should have told you that you need a permit to demo it.
My complete misstep. I've been running the project on my own, and I'm not a general contractor. It's been really difficult to get contractors this day right now, and so part of it, having a young kid and trying to move it forward, the truth is, I didn't know. The intent, in my mind, like, we wouldn't have been able to use the existing structure, so the intent was to bring it down and reuse the foundation. When they removed the house, it was an old fieldstone foundation, and it was just falling down. That's really when I should have called the building inspector, and that's where I misstepped. And that's when Brian came in. Brian is a lot more hands-on than the previous person running that. So it's really completely my fault. I own that.
Thank you.
Question?
Mr. Chair, in part of the note that we received from the Board of Health was a set of plans that would consist of both the garage, the house and the garage. And you've already just mentioning that you're in the garage today. So I would look as the garage has some type of room, bedroom, or some kind of room facility, or it has at least, I would say, it has a bathroom of some sort.
Yeah, so when we applied originally in 2021, it was always going to have a bathroom. I printed it out, I uploaded it
Right.
today. I have copies here if you want me to distribute them. But we essentially have a storage loft, and then we framed where the office would be inside of it.
Okay, so my concern then is that you're proposing a 3-bedroom house with only a 3-bedroom septic. And I would consider that room in the garage as another bedroom. So I'm not sure I would look at the septic plan as being suffice for the amount of bathrooms and the amount of people that you might have at that facility.
Yeah. My understanding is that we went through in 2021, the septic is capable of handling 4 bedrooms. We never went for that because we're not looking to have the house be bigger. The intent was always to have the house be updated and just more modern in the same footprint.
I understand, but you have set it up today where the garage is able to be used as whether it's a guest room or some kind of room with a bathroom in it. So to me, that would be considering that a bedroom. And unfortunately, the plans that we've received are only for a 3-bedroom, not a 4-bedroom septic system. So I don't know, I can't tell, I'm not a septic engineer, so to me, it looks like you only have enough trenches for a 3-bedroom. Usually a 4-bedroom would have a 5th trench, and that's why I just question if the septic is able to handle the amount of possible flow that it could receive based on what you're proposing right now.
When they approved it in 2021, that bathroom was there. I don't know if that matters. That structure is not going to be used as like an extra bedroom. But that's when we put that garage plan together originally in 2021, we included the bathroom because we were always going to put it in there.
So was the garage hooked up to the septic, both the house and the garage hooked up to the septic?
Yeah, it was hooked up that way when we got the house.
Okay.
It was always tied in. Whoever did the work when the last renovation, the major one, I don't know when that happened, prior to my ownership, but they were all connected through the systems under the main driveway. Yeah, and it is only temporary because we're building the house. It's really not going to be used as a space to live in.
I noticed something in the conditions from 2021 was the expansion of the structure cannot result in an increase of sewerage flow to the septic system. Floor plans of both buildings will be regulated to the issuance of a building permit. So in other words, before you can actually start to do anything, in my opinion, you have to go before Neshoba Board of Health and request expansion to a 4-bedroom home. You have 3 that you're requesting for the house, 1 for an auxiliary building, which you call a garage, for your office, which has a bedroom or a a room or something to be used as an office, and a bathroom. So that means it's 4 areas.
When they originally improved it in 2021, it wasn't an issue. I understand now it's apples and dump trucks, I get that. I'm just saying, when we did it in 2021, the intent and the design hasn't changed.
And, sir, I'm not, Mr. Chair, I'm not saying that the design can't be, is not good or not, it's not up to us as the board members to judge, to be able to do the engineering ourselves. I don't feel comfortable, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. However, it is specified that it's for a 3-bedroom. And I have that same thing. I purchased a home, it had, here in Lunenburg, it had 6 bedrooms in it, but that had gotten, 6 bedrooms had gotten approved, it only had a 3-bedroom septic. But it was still my responsibility to take care of it when I purchased the house, type of thing, to fix that. So it's just one of those things, I look, the fact that other room, the room above the garage, I know the plan is to be an office. However, I could also see that as a guest dwelling area, which I would consider a bedroom, and I would look to be able to have something that would say that the plans that you have done are good enough for a 4-bedroom in there. And that's just my thoughts on it. I don't, the rest of the folks have theirs.
Any other question?
Did the building inspector, he didn't write anything, right? He didn't. And have we had, I know we've had a situation before where people have come in and knocked down their property. Right. But I think, if I remember correctly, those could be situated and still meet the current bylaw. I guess I'm hung up on the fact that, we have an applicant who's knocked something down.
We have had cases where they've come before us and they did need other setbacks.
Setback.
I will say, even under abandonment, they still have rights. I can't find a section right now, but they still have rights. It doesn't mean.
Yeah, no, I know. But I'm wondering now if there's an opportunity. Are you planning to submit the septic that you sent to us? Are you planning to submit that to the Board of Health to satisfy their requirements, that you
Yes.
provide plans and
Yes.
number of bedrooms and so forth?
And again, the Board of Health did send their comments on the August 6th, and I think Lisa read them in there. And they're saying they don't have an issue with this proposal with the following conditions, and they have 2 conditions. It's in the application.
Right.
So they do have 2, and we can make that a condition of our special permit.
Yeah.
That they do this, and any other condition that you want to add to it as well.
All right, one last question. So, on your application, you had, they asked you if you had additional information important to the application. You responded, looking to rebuild the home in the same footprint of the previous home. So we've established that you have meets and bounds for that previous location of that foundation, with a small addition of square footage being added to the main house. So that sounds to me like, okay, you want the same footprint, but you're asking for a little bit more than what the footprint is. Is that correct?
The footprint is actually, and maybe I'll let Steve speak to it, the footprint is actually going to be smaller, the house, but being literal, because of the way the property was located, the basement is getting extended roughly like 10 or 12 feet out by the same width. The actual footprint of where the structure is going to be smaller than what was there before, because we removed the lower area that was attached to the deck, so it's going to be more condensed.
Okay.
So, but the foundation there's rubble foundation that you had, is being altered.
Well, it's not there anymore.
Right, so, but the footprint of that rubble foundation is not going to be the same footprint as you're going to look for next.
No, it is going to be the same.
Oh, okay, because you just mentioned how the basement was going to be extended 10 feet.
But because it's I don't know if you're familiar with the property, but there's like a significant grade change from where it is. So the foundation itself, part of it is in the hill, and the part that's
Right.
getting extended is not. So the foundation, I guess when you label foundation, the frost wall will be beyond the existing, but it's going to be wooden framed, the actual structure that's extended beyond what was there. Combo of wood and steel. exactly.
Is the foundation going to be the same, the foundation going to be on the same spot as the rubble foundation was before?
Yes. And I believe I submitted the foundation plan itself. There's 2 pillars that go in to support the floor above it, where it's getting extended.
Okay, all right, that was the confusion, because, you know, you kind of said that, how it's extending, you use
I
the word
understand.
extending,
Yeah.
and that's really
So
the
they're putting in
first
a
floor.
pillar.
The first floor is extending, the basement is not.
Right.
Okay, all right.
So you're not expanding the footprint of where the previous house was?
No, sir.
Okay.
I think he should provide us with a drawing or it doesn't have to be engineered, but he should provide us with a drawing of what it was in the past, what it will be in the future, and proof that he's going to go to Neshoba Board of Health. And
Like I say, we can condition that.
I understand that,
The
but there's
existing-
got to be some significant proof from him that he's following through on this.
Do ever, he did
So,
submit.
yeah, sir, we submitted the existing conditions that were surveyed by Haley Ward, and then we also submitted the plan where the new foundation will be laid out with the piers. I submitted that and uploaded them.
So, Mr. Chair, it's on the letter from the Board of Health, it does mention that the expansion of the structure can't result in increase of the sewage flow to the septic system. Floor plans of both buildings will be required prior to the issuance of a building permit. So, I'm sorry, did you mention you have the floor plans for the garage right now?
I have them with me and they were uploaded to the website.
Oh, okay, because I don't recall.
We don't, so I think we only got the house plans, correct? Up
No.
until today?
The garage was on there. I mean, I can give you what I have printed out.
No, it's okay, I'm looking at the plans that we have here, I'm just trying to see where the garage.
For the new permit, I did the house because the garage was on the original one.
Right, so,
Tried to
so we're
upload-
only looking, so this stuff right here is only the house, correct? The stuff that I'm looking at
Yes.
here, that's the house, not the
Correct,
garage?
yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Because otherwise, we looked at it, it was 2-3 bedrooms. Yeah. And that was confusing to me. That's why I originally had that one.
I understand.
I looked at.
I tried to upload all of the files to each of the different ones to try and be consistent. I may have missed that one.
One of them shows.
Right. I didn't know whether that was going to be a 3-bedroom as well, you know?
That's where they're living right now.
Right, yeah.
Can I ask one question?
Of course you can.
So if I remember 3 years ago, which is a lot for me, this was, you started taking something down and was there, it's kind of in my head, was there a room that was like a porch that someone might have turned into a house that when you started to demo it, everything fell? Is this the same, when you were demoing it first, was there a, no, okay, I'm mixing it up. Okay, so just to clarify, so you're in here right now,
Yeah. Can I pass these out? Is that-
and this is not started yet? Here and here, this is not started, So this office and,
Maybe up the upper level. I'm sorry.
This is what.
Okay, yeah, so, okay. Mr. Chair, I would definitely look at this as being something that with the ability to be a 4th bedroom, and I would like to see, you know, I know personally, I would like to see the septic plans be specified that it's capable of doing 4 bedrooms. I don't think I can make especially with the kitchenette in there.
Okay. Second. Do you have that with you tonight, do you say? Do you have that plan with you?
Which one?
Septic?
Only what I uploaded. I didn't print that one out.
It's on here. We received the soil absorption plan.
There were two. There was one of the layout of the existing system that shows the pump tank, because I have a pump-up septic.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Well, there's only one that talks about the amount of bedrooms that it's designed for. And on the plan, this is the soil absorption plan, which is where you put the, what it's designed for, and it says estimated hydraulic loading, 3 bedrooms, is what it specifies here. Now, I realize the tank size could be used for a 4-bedroom, but it's specified that this has been designed for a 3-bedroom on the, whoever the architects were, the engineers were.
Which is the intent of what we are using it for. I understand what you're saying.
With a kitchenette, that's a 4-bedroom. And, you know, the only thing, I mean, you even have the closet, so I would consider, you know, there's a closet in there as well, so I don't know what you know, that's gonna be a definition for me of a bedroom.
But that's really up to the Board of Health, right? The number of the bedrooms, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we don't control that.
No, we don't. No.
But he's
I mean,
not,
we
but you're
can-
not gonna, you're
We
not.
can look at that certainly, and it can, you know, be involved with our
Right.
decision, but we basically can turn that over, like I say, since the Board of Health has already sent comments. They certainly know about it, and they're certainly gonna look at it. And he has to go to them if we can condition it to make sure that it actually complies. And if you guys wanna put something in there of, you know, we're only putting in one from this location, and 3 from this, or whatever you're configuring, you can put that condition.
Excuse me, can I interject? There is a building permit filed for this property. And that memo from Kara from the Board of Health, that's what she put on the building permit.
Okay.
So she won't move the permit forward.
Yeah.
Brian won't move the permit forward until there's a decision of this board and that has been
Okay,
satisfied.
all right.
Yeah, I'm fine with that if that's on.
But I do think you should look at that, because I'm looking at the soil absorption design right now. That's your property, but the septic that we were given is number 4 Sunset Lane. Correct. So it's not even relevant to your property. This is why I'm asking about that.
That's why I need to use a computer so I can
See what you got.
But, Mr. Chairman, you know, I don't know if anybody else is done. I mean, we got a kind of a situation here, you know, the applicant knocked the property down. I really don't have a problem with, the meets and bounds if they're gonna put it back into the foundation where it was existing, if they can prove that, and I'm gonna condition that.
I think one thing we can condition is that it does comply. Now, the other one had a height that we know of, because we gave him a set amount that we were leaving of.
Yeah.
We know he had a side yard because we gave him relief from that.
Right.
So that pretty well positions the house.
Yeah.
And that's something that the building inspector can check and make sure that he does maintain, which means that it has to be in the same location.
Yeah. There's plenty of plans on record by third-party, you know, engineers that would locate where that property was, so.
And we did have Haley and Ward do that prior to.
A new one? You had a new engineer come out and redo it?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I have Mr. Ballard here for.
Okay.
So no dimensions have changed since the 2021 permit, correct?
No, sir.
Any other questions? Questions, any of you? None of you? Okay. Would anyone from the public like to make any comments, or questions?
I'm Steve Ballard from Haley Ward, and we did the original work for the property. And when Justin was starting to do the work on the property, we came out, staked everything out to make sure that it was going to go in accordance with the plan that was approved before. So we have the exact location of where it should be and where it's going to be replaced. And the intent for the garage was not I understand the room, you could interpret as a bedroom, but the plans don't show it as a bedroom, they're just temporarily staying there while they construct, rather than bringing a trailer on to the site type of thing. But we can and will be monitoring where everything goes to make sure that it's in accordance with the previous
Okay.
approval.
Would anyone else like to speak?
We have a couple on,
Anybody on Zoom?
there's a couple on Zoom.
Ask them to raise their hands,
Raise your
please.
hand or just turn your video on. I got everyone on the screen, so if you do want to make a comment, just turn your video on. And I'm seeing nothing.
None?
Nope.
Buddy? Okay. Thank you. With that, I would ask for a motion then.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the special permit dimensional variations on the following conditions. One, that the applicant comply with the Board of Health requirements. Number two, that they submit a revised engineering plan. And number three, that the property is located exactly where it was before,
Yep.
and in the same location,
With the same variances that
with the
they
same
have.
variances as the special permit back in 2021.
Right. And also that you have to go, you have to go to the Conservation Commission, so.
But we're outside of the 100-foot barrier. We're outside of the 100 feet from the lake.
I think that they will require it to relook at it.
Her note said, "Project will need filing with Conservation Commission if limit of work falls within the 100-foot buffer zone."
Okay, and you're beyond that?
We're outside of that completely.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. Okay, we have a motion?
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. I'll ask for a vote. Jim?
Aye.
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 And I.
And I.
No, sorry. And I.
With that, it's granted.
So now I go in front of the Board of Health, is that how that works, or
What's that?
procedurally what happens? I can ask after as well.
Well,
This
it's
isn't the
like
time.
Lisa had pointed out, it's going to be on your permits, which means you have to get that, they have to sign off.
Okay,
So if you submitted this floor plan with the building permit, the Board of Health will see it.
okay,
And then she can comment directly with you on the portal.
okay.
And she's requiring both. It says there that you need to submit both the house and the garage for the Board of Health.
Okay,
Okay, and I do have to read the special permit post-decision instructions. The special permit is granted with the contingency that the petitioner complies with all licenses, regulations, statutes, and ordinances of any and all applicable local, state, federal boards or agencies with jurisdiction over the premise. The special permit is subject to a periodic review by the permit granting authority or the enforcement officer to ensure compliance with any conditions. Non-compliance to such conditions may result in revocation of this permit. A copy of the board's decision shall be filed with the town clerk within 14 days. Any party aggrieved by the board's decision may appeal to Superior Court 20 days after the decision is filed with the town clerk. After certification by the town clerk that 20 days have elapsed since the decision was filed, you should have it recorded in the Registry of Deeds. No special permit shall take effect until it has been recorded. And the special permit will lapse within 2 years unless substantial use of construction has commenced. With
Thank you.
that, good luck with your new one.
Look,
We're gonna stay on for a little bit. I want to discuss fees.
Should we leave
We
Zoom on for
can't-
this, or?
We can't vote on it tonight because we'll vote on it at the next hearing, but we can talk about it.
It's still
tonight.
open. So I can, you want me to?
Yeah, you can just,
So the fees for the zoning board applications are $100, and if the abutters list exceeds 12, it's $2 over and above for each person we notify. We've realized that with the rising cost of the advertising and postage, that we can't, the $100 filing fee doesn't really cover all the costs and paying me. So, moving forward, Al and I spoke with town council, and you can't raise fees for revenue purposes. So, the building commissioner and Al and I have been talking about it, and, you know, to move forward, rather than increase the fees for, you know, keep the fees same for both commercial and residential property, $100 fee, the applicant will pay for the advertising upfront. So that would be on the applicant.
Okay.
The fees to the Lunenburg Ledger, it's $40 per ad, and each ad goes in the paper 2 subsequent weeks prior to the hearing. So we're actually losing money because that, with the cost of postage. The applicant will be responsible for providing the abutter envelopes affixed with prepaid postage. So that fee goes away. And the applicant, moving forward, after we vote on this at the next meeting, because I did the agenda, but it wasn't posted, so we can only discuss it and not vote on it tonight. We have online permitting. The zoning board applications are online. Very few people use it, but we can all look at everything, everybody here, and anybody, if they want to look at the application, they don't have to come to me, they don't have to go to the town clerk, they can look online and see everything that was submitted. So if an application came in, you know, once this whole application is set up, the applicant will apply, they will prepay online to the ledger, and there's a way that conservation does it. The applicant will provide the prepaid envelope, so if there's 30 people on the list, they provide just an envelope with a stamp on it, or however they want to do it. And then I will notify the abutters, you know, from our office, so we know everybody's notified and click all the boxes. So that's what's proposed to vote on for the next meeting. So if anybody, I guess, has...
If anyone has any questions,
No. First, Mr. Chair, I like the idea. It's something, I know I've done that through the conservation, where I ended up having to pay for everything. And there was actually just a list of, I had to actually go to the post office with a list, and then they charged me whatever when I got there. So that's fine, I like that. I'm wondering if we can add on this thing because of that porthole. Maybe there's a way of trying to talk to the town about like a tablet, instead of us killing all these trees. And printing everything out, because that way we'd be able to just use we'd all be able to use the portal while we're sitting here as well for all the documents. And it would probably save the town money in the long run, as we know how much paper we generate as a group.
That's a good point, I'll bring that up.
I like the idea. The question I have, and I know you can't, it's not a revenue generating, but I mean, how long has the fee been $100?
I've been with you 26 years and it has never changed.
So I think we should try to work with council to see, not that it's money generating, but I think just a little bit more. I mean, the cost of doing business has changed in 20 years. So I would say even if we decide that maybe commercial is a little bit more than residential, but I think we should bump it up just a little bit, not to make money, but I mean, nothing stays the same for 20 years.
Right, your cost, the cost of you has changed in 20 years. I'd
Yeah.
like to hope so.
Yeah.
I'd like to hope so.
So I mean, the only thing I would ask is maybe go back to council and see what could we charge for, is it 125? I mean, we gotta get it something a little bit more.
Right.
And I think it only bolsters, the fact that,
Have this space.
Yeah.
And that equipment in there. so
Yeah,
there's probably
exactly.
costs
So,
associated with
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I think the zoning board budget in totality is maybe $3,500. So it's mostly payroll and postage.
Yeah.
And the very few supplies, because I do both jobs, so
Yep.
I sit at the same desk and I use the same computer. If I retire and it's 2 people, now that it's online, it's so much more streamlined.
Yep.
And everybody, the fire chief can look at the application without me physically giving him this package.
Yep.
The police chief, and I can add or delete people.
Yep.
The sewer department will look at it, the water department will look at it. So any questions that you see, for instance, the fire chief says, well, wait a minute, this plan doesn't work, he can communicate with the applicant and the board, and we can all see the comments. So instead of me printing what the Board of Health says and what the Conservation Commission says, it's right in front of you.
Agree. Like I said, it gets confusing, like even this one, we had, there was 3 emails to look through and print out if we wanted to bring all that information with us. I mean, it's not worth it to, you're making 8 copies. That's a lot of paper and a lot of time, of your time too. That's just, I agree that this makes sense, and I do agree also that we should revisit the fees for commercial.
Right, we can look at it.
Yeah.
Part of the reason that we went
Not
this
that we
way
get that much
with
commercial.
them paying the envelopes and all of that.
Yeah,
stuff. He said, like Lisa said, you just can't make revenue.
Right, I understand, but I think we should raise it somehow.
Right.
You know, without,
I think maybe what we gotta do is look a little deeper and see what our average cost of, not what we're gonna put them on, but what it actually does cost. Does it cost $120, $150?
So if each hearing, if it takes me an hour to do the decision, I mean, some are much easier than others.
yeah,
right.
So, by the time I get everything printed and, do the abutters and how much of my time,
Right,
I
correct.
suppose,
Right.
Yeah,
would be a good, but I did all the surrounding towns of equal size. The fees aren't exorbitant, they really aren't. I mean, the highest one I saw was $300 for a fine.
But that was my next question to have you looked at, and obviously you have. So I think everything's great. I think we should just try to go back and see what we could get for commercial or
We can go
residential on the
back and
fees.
look. Even if it goes up, it wouldn't go up significantly.
Yeah, that's fine, but I mean, it should go up a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And then, while Brian's building this section of the portal, I mean, it was built originally, but people don't use it, but
Yep.
he's adding so many more features that there would literally be, the person can't move forward to the next step until everything is received and paid for.
Right.
Which it saves a lot of, well, you didn't have your list of abutters, but I'll put you on the schedule, but then
Then you don't.
then I'm chasing.
Yes.
And this way here, it's right there. I mean, he showed me this afternoon, what do you think of this, and how does this work for you? And it's amazing, so.
Excellent.
Thank you for doing that.
I know, Hans asked the same thing, was basically, could you give us at least an oral statement of what the area towns are that are comparable to us for their fees?
I didn't bring it with me, I didn't
Yeah, but
even
that's
think of
okay.
that, but, they're about 100, 150, but a lot of them, that's what they're doing to offset. They're paying for the
doing
ad
the
up
same
front.
thing.
Putting the burden on the
They're
applicant for some of the
providing
costs.
the
Yeah,
envelopes.
we're not gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
I
We
mean,
pay it.
I said to Brian, I would rather have a blank envelope with a stamp on it.
Yes.
And make sure that I can double check that everybody has
Yeah.
been notified.
Yeah.
I mean, we just received an application last Thursday, and there were 71 abutters on it.
Right.
So for the $100 filing fee plus over 12, I think the filing fee was $218. So that's,
And we did $100 in postage and stamps.
well,
Basically.
69 cents apiece.
Yeah.
70
69 cents, holy.
For 71 pieces of mail.
And going up.
And,
God,
you know,
I
if it's continued,
I don't
so
know.
that's, payroll and
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think.
then re-notification, and he's building it so the hearing notice is fillable, you know what I mean, the sections of the bylaw, and then he will put in a letter, it will be right there of his zoning opinion.
Okay, perfect.
So it's just, it's very comprehensive.
Yeah. I mean, I just went through it in another county, and you can't imagine what I went through to try to get a building permit, but, compared to what you do here. And believe me, it was a lot more than $100, for everything.
But that's Florida.
Well, that's a different town. Even when I went to the zoning board, it was a lot more than $100. Good job.
Yeah, I think it's good. Pass the
Yes.
cost on to some of the costs on the applicant and see if we can raise the fees a little bit. I think it's a good idea.
Okay, I'll compare-
And an online portal's even better.
But the other cities and towns, and I'll bring that presentation at the next meeting, and then we can vote on it.
That's why we're discussing it tonight, so that we
Yeah,
can
perfect.
address them in the next meeting and take a vote.
Yeah, good. Thank you for doing
Thank you
that.
for doing, yeah.
Okay, the only other thing I have is, I wanted to say it publicly at a meeting. We received this email, and I know you all have it, but Steve Dubois sent this email on August 1st. Lisa, Patty, and I have sold our house here in Lunenburg and will be moving out of state later this month. Thus, I must resign my short-lived position as an alternate ZBA member. I enjoyed being involved in local government and most appreciate the courtesies you extended. Best wishes to you and the entire ZBA. And that's signed by Steve Dubois.
All right, thank him for his service.
So do you want to just accept that, I guess?
Yeah, we accept that. No, you can't move.
Get back here, Steve.
Should we accept it with regrets and send him a notice?
Yeah, I mean, he was,
Yeah, the selectmen don't do that, but.
I'll make a motion that we send.
Make him an
notice.
offer he can't refuse, that kind of thing.
No, just send a notice and thank him for his service.
thank you.
And regrets and good luck in his
New
future
adventure.
endeavors.
I will do that.
He has to pay for postage.
I think we can cover that one.
Send it via email.
Right, take it out of our budget, yes.
Okay. Anything else, gentlemen?
I'd make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 With that, we are adjourned.
Can I stop Zoom now?
Yes.
Okay.